Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Fans of Pro Wrestling. This is Sunday night Sunday Takedown. I'm going to be the host today. My name is Carlos Estrada, and I'm joined here with my two co-hosts, Heather and John. How are you guys doing today? Heather, you go first. Ladies first.
I'm doing good. Just been trying to keep track of all the wrestling going on, and not really too happy with some of the stuff happening. But yeah, I'm good.
How about you, John?
Yeah, I'm here. We'll just say that.
Okay. Hi, and then hello to Trisha. Hello, Trisha. Thank you for joining us on Facebook. We appreciate you. What was you guys' before we get into it, what was your guys' general thoughts about the WWE product this week? Heather?
Oh, yeah.
I'm going back right now and looking at the Raw results, because to be honest, I don't even remember what happened, because I guess that can explain it right there. I don't remember what happened on Raw, so I mean, I guess that it can explain it right there.
Well, the thing is, I know, you've talked before, when we were talking, I don't remember, but I think that's part of it. If you don't remember what happened, then that speaks to what the product is, because if you're having to recollect and be like, what happened this week? To me, I think that speaks to the product, the state of the product right now. How about you, John? What were your overall thoughts about the product this week?
It was a complete cluster. I think the only thing that really made anything real interesting, sorry, Heather, was that ending segment on SmackDown where we had Jay kind of give us a conflicted story of where he's at with the Bloodline WWE. He basically super kicks Roman, but then tells Jay or Jimmy, hey, wait, and then gives him the super kick and says, screw the Bloodline, screw WWE, I'm out. And I would say that's probably about the only memorable thing for WWE this week.
We have a new United States champion. Come on now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really like that story just because of the fact they took out Santos Escobar and gave it to Rey. Nothing to take away from Rey Mysterio Jr., but I thought the point is we're trying to get LWO some exposure here, and we take them out. I'm a little confused by this whole story.
So this, and to me too, I think when you're coming off of a PLE, especially when you're your third biggest PLE of the year in SummerSlam, I have high expectations, and for me, something I brought up in our conversation today is I miss the old days where it's like right away you would build into the next PLE or pay-per-view, as far as building, you kind of already have an idea who's going to be the number one contender, what way they're going, and they're really missing that. So this first topic of the day is, what are you guys' thoughts about the lack of build towards the next PLE? And then with that too, I wanted to tie in what we were talking about in our Wednesday space on Twitter. Is I feel like this, now, especially with Endeavor coming on, WWE is at this point now where the stars don't matter anymore, and it's just about the WWE brand in general. And to me, I feel like that's kind of why they feel like they don't need to build the PLEs anymore like they used to, because people are going to just tune in because of the brand WWE themselves. Kind of wanted to hear your guys' thoughts on that and see if you guys agree or disagree. We can start with you, Heather.
What, you talking about the build for the next pay-per-view? Or excuse me.
Yeah, just the lack of one. Not that I feel like they just kind of nonchalantly just kind of go in now to building the next one, and what we talked about on Wednesday, because we were just talking about we were talking about the whole Endeavor thing coming up and stuff like that, and one of the things we're talking about is just in WWE, I don't feel like the superstars matter anymore. It's all about the brand, and it's just about the WWE brand. And Vince has done a good job of making the brand more important than the superstars. And I wonder if you think that kind of just ties into them not really feeling like they need to build for the PLEs anymore like they used to.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. It just there's nothing there. It's you're not even feeling any excitement. Oh, you got this coming. What was coming up in 2 weeks?
I think a month. It's over a month. This is gonna be a month.
Over a
away,
month. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I know what I'm thinking of. Yeah. But anyway, it's yeah. There's like really no build or nothing. I've not even like heard anything about it. And no, the superstars don't matter. They don't, not to the company anyway. And like and what is this about? Triple H's not even going to be on the board of directors anymore, and all that. Like I just he's still head of creative though.
I mean, yeah, on paper, but at the same time, like
On paper, well, yeah. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, because like it's just I don't know. I just wish Vince would just like take his ass and just go away and stay away. Which I know, like I don't know. I guess that's not ever gonna happen until he's dead. But yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like any excitement for anything coming up, and then I'm not feeling really been excited for anything. Period. As long as Roman stupid Reigns is sitting on his butt on a title and not doing anything. I mean, for real. Like, and they talking about they want him to break another record, and what record are you breaking when you're sitting on your ass and you're not defending a fucking title? You know, I'm sorry.
I definitely agree.
I'm totally off topic, but I'm sorry. I'm just, it's stupid. I mean, like they're so worried about this record, break this record, do this, do that. But it's not a defending champion. It's not, you need to be behind somebody that's going to fight, that's going to defend that title. Not just, we're just going to let this man sit back and let him rack up days. No, man, it don't work that way. Well, apparently it does work that way, but it shouldn't work that way, And
I do think, like, I don't really feel like you're off topic because I do feel like the fact that Roman's probably not going to be around for the next few months, I feel like that kind of leads into why there feels like a lack of a PLE too, because when your biggest storyline is not going to be there, the Island of Relevance, like it's just when your biggest storyline is not going to be there, your moneymaker is not going to be there, and your biggest champion in the company can't be bothered to show up for the PLEs, then why should fans feel excited about him either? So I feel like it all is kind of tied in. So I don't think you're wrong to bring that point up on this topic. What were your thoughts, John?
Can anyone tell me what the next PLE is, really?
Payback, isn't it? I think.
There's my point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for real.
I'm trying to figure out, okay, they do monthly PLEs, sometimes even bi-monthly not bi-monthly, but maybe 2 PLEs sometimes a month, but I haven't really heard any kind of build or what the hell's supposed to be next coming up. If you don't have that, if you do not have your PLEs promoted ahead of time, you're going to lose the focus of the fans, and with no real storylines moving forward, what's going on?
And that's like for me, and I agree with that, and for me, I feel like they rest on their laurels these days, just because the fact that they're going to be on Peacock and they know they're going to have the most eyes on there. They've raised ticket prices, so they can claim the highest, grossing gate because they're charging double what they used to 5 years ago. It's like all this different stuff going on, it's like, but to me, it's like, don't rest on your laurels because it could be so much more. If they really, really went into it hot, I think they could be doing I think their ratings could increase more. I think there's so much potential that they're not even tapping into because they do just rest on their laurels and because they're not tapping into the superstars enough and they're not letting the blood feeds really happen in there. And so it's like they're not, the heart isn't really into it. And so it's kind of like we just coast on, excuse me, bless me. We just kind of coast on through because it's like we're programmed and we love it. But at the same time, it's like the passion is just not there. And I think that speaks to the build of it. We could have a lot more if there was, and just too, it's like worse. We shouldn't be questioning a few weeks out, less than 5 weeks out. What's next for Cody? Like Cody's next challenger should have already stood up, and it's just, to me, there's just a lot more potential they could be making if they were just doing these things right. Did you guys have any more closing thoughts on that?
I definitely don't. I mean, like I said, right now, I'll say it just like what I thought this week. It's all a cluster. Nobody knows what's going on. And if you don't have a direction, you're going to have a hard time keeping fans, even like myself, interested in the product.
And for me too, I mean, and that's one thing, with us doing this, our podcast, we we take ownership of that. So, we got to watch the product. But if it wasn't for this podcast, I would probably just be fast forwarding through most of this. But because we do this, we gotta pay attention. So with that being said, and just with feeling like with the direction that creative's in right now, and and just the fact that we just had the third biggest PLE of the year, and they're coming off that and not really building into that. And then you look at NXT, where it's like NXT is literally like using almost like the Attitude Era days. Everybody has a storyline. It's action packed from beginning to end. They're trying to push stars. There's just a lot of, everyone's almost getting used. With that being said, do you guys think that NXT is WWE's best brand right now? And we'll start with you, John.
Yes and no. I think the fact that they've actually have been developing the stories and continuing with them, that's been their strong suit lately. And that's why eyes are more on the NXT brand right now than the other two. But also keep in mind, we've got a PLE is it a PLE or is it just a special episode with
a special episode?
Okay. So with them being more focused with the special episode, you're probably going to remember that going forward than what WWE's next PLE is. So, I mean, we got quite the build-up. We're looking something more toward the line of the family, maybe taking on the dyad for the NXT Tag Team Championships. Unfortunately, we don't know who's next for Tiffany Stratton's NXT Women's Championship. Dijak is probably going to be more than likely the next person to challenge Carmelo Hayes for the NXT Championship. And for the North American Championship, Dom's got two different guys coming after him. So you got some stories going right there. And that's what helps build that brand, is if you keep the fan interest right there. So yes, right now, NXT is the brand between the three brands of all.
And what are your thoughts about that, Heather?
I mean, yeah, it's got the storylines and stuff, but I was just always calling it the soap opera show because they're just too much into their stories. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it is keeping more people entertained because they are keeping the storylines going. They are keeping the build up going for the show that's coming up and the championships and stuff. But I mean, yeah, I guess as of right now, I guess it would be the better one. But it's still the soap opera show.
Well,
and go ahead.
Sorry. So the one thing I do want to give NXT props also is putting value on their titles. This is where Heather tangent goes off with Roman Reigns and Rhea Ripley not defending their titles. At least we got the champions on NXT defending their titles, even with her favorite Dirty Dom defending the
Shut up.
Even defending the NXT North American Championship on the different brands. They're keeping NXT alive right there. And I will give Heather a little bit on they seem a little more dramatic, but they're also throwing on more matches in the NXT program than what you get out of SmackDown and Raw. So that's another reason why I believe NXT is the brand right now.
And I mean, in this question, and it just came up to me when I was thinking about topics for this week, because that's to me like I was watching NXT and I was like, and again, I'm like kind of, it's like, some of it is very corny and it is like kind of like telenovela storylines, and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's like when you look at the whole product as a whole, it's like they're utilizing more of the roster. Like John just said, like you're getting like 8 matches in 2 hours. You get like maybe 5 matches or 6 matches at the most on Raw, all these different segments. And then to me, like you're getting everyone's involved in a storyline. So to me, like that's kind of like what the Attitude Era used to be like. Even like the lower mid-carders or low card people were feeding with somebody, and that's something that I do appreciate about NXT. So again, I have to give Chad Frost his star, his accolades, because to me it's like, even though it could use a lot of work, I feel like it's the best brand, and it also speaks to the fact that Vince stays away from that brand, because it's like I just think they're doing a really good job of utilizing all their stars, just different storylines, bringing in the guys like Dom and Ray, bringing in the Baron Corbins and the Mustafa Ali's, so that they're doing enough to like make sure there's enough good storylines like of core people, but they're also just trying to introduce new people and letting them try to see if they can stick and catch their niche. And so that is something that I do appreciate about the brand. And I felt like it was important, you know, to kind of just like say, hey, like this is their biggest, this brand is doing, like, I feel like it is their best brand right now. And people there should be more eyes on it. And so another thing I want to ask you guys in relation to NXT was, with the overrun this week, NXT was only like, I think like 80,000 viewers away from AEW. And I think on the big, like the highest rated segment, they were only like about 20,000 people behind. With that said, do you guys think we might see in the next year where NXT outdoes AEW Dynamite in ratings?
If you're talking just Dynamite, yes. Collision is kind of a different story.
Yes, I don't really count Collision because that's on a Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, but if you're strictly just saying Dynamite, I think if you combine Dynamite and Rampage together, yeah, I think NXT will be right there.
What are your thoughts, Heather?
Yeah, I could see that. Because like, but I mean, I don't get this whole focus on the ratings and stuff. I mean, I guess it's important, but I mean, I don't know. I don't get the whole big focus on it. People are watching it, enjoying it, but yeah, I can see them being up there with them.
And again, I think I do too, and I think it's fascinating because here they switched nights to Tuesday to get away from AEW Dynamite, and then it's like, then they were talking so much shit about them, and then now AEW thought they're gonna catch up to Raw. And now here you might have NXT break thing again. So again, for me, like I think it's healthy. I think us as fans, when there is like, you know, like how you don't understand, I think when there is a more focus, at least on them internally on ratings, and they feel like it matters, I think we win because we get a better product in theory. So I'm all here for it. Did you guys have any more thoughts about that?
I don't.
I mean, I can understand. I can understand, you know, the wanting the views and everything, and like to do, but there's just some people that are like too focused on that. They're like, oh, that's all they talk about was like, oh, well, we had this amount of views, and we had, and it's just like they're just too like arguing over it. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's just a way for people to the fandom, and it's like it's a way for the marks to shit on the other product, and I get it. To me, like as long, and that's to me like. I just want to see the talent doing better, you know. So, and that's what for me. I just want to make sure everybody can eat, and that's something I've always said on anything we do. So, as long as it means better paying jobs, and the talent's getting to wrestle, and we're getting to see these other guys get utilized, that's all I care about. And as long as the networks are happy with it, I'm happy with it. But we all want to be a part of what, you know. It's natural society. I think we all want to be part of what's cool and what's hip. So I think that's why people watch the ratings. People want to know like what I'm watching, what I'm putting my time into is the cool thing to watch. So it's almost like cool. It's like cool points, you know. That's the way to look at it too. So our next topic is going to be the U.S. title storyline. So this past Friday on SmackDown, we're supposed to see Santos Escobar versus Austin Theory for the U.S. title. And then Austin Theory ended up attacking Santos Escobar early, like in a backstage interview. And then when Santos was making his way to the ring, he clipped him again. And then ended up with Rey Mysterio taking his place. And then it ended up doing Rey Mysterio as your new United States champion. Earlier in the show, LA Knight was wrestling Top Dollar. And to me, it's like, I think, you know, for us, I think the one thing I think a lot of fans thought, at least I did, was like, you know, hopefully that we see LA Knight winning the U.S. title. And so now it's like they're not doing that. And so now it's like, and then it's like, are they going to break the LWO up now? It's like, so me as a Hispanic person, I'm kind of pissed about that because it's like, we finally get a good storyline and now it feels like it's in danger because I can just feel like a Santos Escobar heel turn coming up. And to me, it's like almost like I feel like, are we getting trolled by WWE? Like they know what we want and they keep like just not giving it to us, but they think that Rey will be satisfactory. I just want to know what you guys' thoughts were more in line with that whole storyline. Did they make a good choice of putting it on Ray, or should it have been LA Knight? And what do you guys think is next for Austin Theory? Let's start with you, Heather.
Well, I thought it was really, really kind of shitty. What happened, with that, Santos not being able to get the match, because I think, he needed it. Well, he didn't need it. I think it would have been cool for him to have the match and to be able to maybe possibly win. But like for Ray to be able to come in there and get, it's cool, that he won and everything. But why, why? Like you're basically splitting them up, but without splitting them up, because it's going to be, causing some kind of problem. And everybody's already talking about, well, he's going to turn on Ray, and then they're going to be against each other again. But why? Like, you just got them together. They're doing great. Everybody loves them. Why are you doing this? And like I said, I'm happy Ray's got the title. He, good for him. But I don't like the way it's been done. And I would much rather have LA Knight win the title. Yeah, I don't see where it's going, but yeah.
John?
I think it's going to start creating some friction between Ray and Santos Escobar, because I don't know if you noticed when they were walking back, you could see that Santos was wanting to help Ray raise that United States Championship. But in a way, Ray was kind of like holding it dear to himself. But I don't know. It is a little weird. Who knows? We could be seeing a storyline where Austin Theory could muddy the water and say, Ray told me to attack you so you wouldn't win that championship either. So there could be a number of things what you could do with that. But unfortunately, I do think this kind of muddies the path for LA Knight, because here we're promoting maybe LA Knight was going to be the one to take that championship off Austin Theory, and then we pass the torch to somebody else. I think it is something in a way WWE is trying to stick it to the fans, because that's what the fans wanted, but they're showing the fans who's really in charge, especially when they go to make decisions like this. It's really, I'm just going to say it one more time. It's a cluster.
And for me too, because I know, like, when I put a poll out on Friday or during SmackDown, and it's like, if Roman goes away, who should be, and it said I asked who should be the face of SmackDown, and the options I gave were LA Knight, I gave the Bloodline, and then I said the women, and then I said or other, and it was overwhelming for LA Knight. So to me, it's like, I just think they're missing an opportunity where it's like, make the fans put up or shut up. Why not put the title on LA Knight? Why not have him be the face of SmackDown? Have him be the face of SmackDown, and then let the fans either put up or shut up. If the fans support him, if they come out in droves, and then they make the fans put up or shut up too, instead of just trolling us and not giving us what we want. And and Trisha agrees with you, John, that it's like it's just muddying the waters, and that they're just kind of trolling us too. And for me, it's like, I just don't understand the point of this, because is Ray's gonna be nothing more than a transitional champion. Then even if Santos wins it, is he gonna be a long-term champion, or is he gonna be transitional as well? And for me too, I just felt bad for Theory. Here's the guy who was fighting John Cena, got John Cena at WrestleMania, and now he just feels like an afterthought. And again, they can blame him and say all they want about him, that he didn't do this or do that, but at the same time, they weren't pushing him either, and they let him kind of just be an afterthought. And when that happens, you lose that momentum, and it's just a sad thing to see. And I was just kind of like, to me, I was just hoping the whole time, let LA Knight come out and challenge for this, and then it ended up being Ray. And I was just like, I feel like they made the wrong decision. Ray doesn't need the belt. I wish they would have went with LA Knight and gave the fans what they want. But again, I agree with John. I feel like they're just kind of trolling us and be like, well, you'll get it when you want it. And I'm just really disappointed by it. Did you guys have any more thoughts about it?
Well, and this goes to when we were talking in our Twitter space not too long ago, with where we see maybe Cody still in the path to dethrone Roman. Well, I don't know. Maybe this could be the possibility where we're being teased that Cody's going to go after Roman, but maybe what we're going to be seeing here is possibly LA Knight going up against Roman. Who knows? Would I be against it? Hell no. Do I see creative giving LA Knight the nod and dethroning Roman? probably more than likely not. And they're just going to tease us till WrestleMania 40 still.
Any more thoughts on that one, Heather?
Basically, we're just going to be bored to hell and back until WrestleMania 40. I mean, for real, like, you just sitting here with all this, just a champion just not going to defend the title, just sitting, riding shit out, and we're just coasting along, just being fed whatever the fuck WWE wants to be. Is okay, cool, got it.
Yeah, I'm like, and honestly, I'm supposed to go to SmackDown at the end of September at the Golden One Center in Sacramento, and I'm just like, I'm thinking now, can I scalp these tickets? I could give two shits anymore. I'm just like, I'm done. Like, I'm not interested at all. Like, and it's like just everything that they're doing. Like, I'm just confused by it. So with the last topic of that, to close SmackDown, we had the Bloodline storyline coming out, and so again, there was like 20 minutes dedicated to this of Roman coming out. He came out with just Solo. Then you had Jimmy Uso come out and say that he did this. It wasn't because he did this because he didn't want to see his brother get hurt, and then that thing, and he wanted to keep his brother close to him. And then you have Jay come out, and then Jay kind of just says his piece and says, how could you do this? And and kind of just and then Roman just kind of laughing at him, and then Jay ends up kicking Roman, kicking Solo, super kicking him, as Jimmy was leaving, because Jay kind of just turned his back to him, which I think was really dramatic. He calls Jimmy back, and as Jimmy's making his way back to Jay super kicks him, and he leaves through the crowd, and he's like, I quit. He's like, I'm done with WWE. So they're I guess top of the fourth is to have Jay quit and come back. So I guess I have a lot of questions with this one. So I guess my first question is, what are you guys' overall thoughts with this? I guess, Heather's kind of reached hers, but then Kurt Angle made a funny comment about this. And Kurt, because they asked him if he thought it was top of the third or whatever, or bottom of the third. And Kurt's like, no, I think it's the bottom of the eighth. And he's like, I know Paul Heyman. He's just in there shitting bricks right now because they know that they are trying to make this, they're trying to extend the storyline out, and they don't know what to do. And so I feel like this is, I feel like this is just like, I'm not happy with this at all. Like, personally, I think this is the wrong way to go. Again, to me, it just seems like horseshit, just trying to make it continue to go out. And then I feel like they don't really have many in line with that. So I guess my two questions are, what do you guys think is next for them? And then do you guys see Jay coming back at Royal Rumble? And do you still consider Jay a viable threat to dethrone Roman? Like, do you see him as a threat to win the Royal Rumble, or do you see the muddy in the waters and it's still going to be Cody Rhodes? Let's start with you, John.
Well, let's start off with, is Jay a viable threat? They sure made him look like that at SummerSlam until Jimmy got involved.
Yeah.
But here's my problem. I don't like this I quit WWE segments because it's been used so many damn times. You're now, in a way, taking interest away from the story. I don't think they needed to add that element. Just the one thing I would have left alone was have Jay super kick Roman, super kick Solo, maybe Paul Heyman, and super kick.
Please.
and super kick Jimmy all at once. Just kind of pull the Crow version of Sting out when he first started turning his back on everyone, because everyone turned their back on him. Have him go silent for, a month or two, because sometimes when you go silent but show your actions, that can show it could be a good storyline. As far as where we're going direction wise, I don't know. To me, this is kind of where Kurt Angle said bottom of the eighth. Yeah, it's getting there, because the problem is you just took away, not so much took away, but people are now starting to kind of get tired of the Bloodline storyline. And I'm sure Heather's cheering on that right now, but this thing's dragging 3 years plus, and I think now it's almost time to just find a way to write the final chapter of this story.
Heather, do you want to add any more to that?
I mean, yeah, I've been over it. You know, I've been told y'all that. Like, it's stupid just to keep dragging it out. And now you guys sit here and they're wanting to supposedly, is what everybody's saying, is they're wanting, you know, Jay and Jimmy to fight each other at WrestleMania. So they're wanting, all of a sudden he's gone, but then surprise, he's going to come back just so they can have the match at WrestleMania. Okay, and why? For what purpose? Like, I don't understand it. And I don't know, like, I thought he would be great to, you know, take the title from Roman, but it's going to be Cody. I mean, that too many people are wanting it. No, hell no, don't let me say that, because WWE don't give a fuck what people want. But I don't know. It's just come down to it's probably going to be Cody, and I don't really know where the fuck they're going with the Bloodline story. But it needs to end. Go away. Roman needs to pack his little suitcase up and go on about his goddamn business and let somebody else have a chance at the title. I mean, there's too many people that deserve championships. Like, he's had this shit tied up for too long now. Like, give somebody else a fucking chance.
And for me too, like I echo what you guys said, and one other layer for me that I'm gonna add to this is I feel like it still goes back to the old school mentality of like, Cody didn't get over here at WWE. Like, Cody got over on his own. He got over by going out on his own and doing his own thing, and by going to AEW. So before we can, you know, give it to Cody and crown him and let him win a back-to-back Royal Rumble, we're going to convolute the waters with a really, really over LA Knight who's just there and he can't quite get it yet. And we're going to convolute the waters, you know, because, you know, with Jey Uso, maybe the fans wanting him, and it's like, and so because, you know, Case, you know, and it's like, they're fucking up with things that what's built organically. The fans are really wanting Cody, and I feel like it's almost their way of like showing like it's like a haha, we told you so, like we told you we're really over. And I feel like they're looking for a way just to make Cody fail and to have it be their way. Do you guys see any truth to that kind of statement?
I said when he came back and he lost at WrestleMania, I was talking with somebody else, and they had said that they felt like, and I kind of agreed, that WWE just brought him back over so they could bury him. And it's kind of like they're like, he's over and everything, and everybody loves him, but they're like, what is all this shit that they're doing? Like, the whole shit with Brock, like, that just was out of left field. Like, you know, now it's 3 matches. Okay, yeah, he got Brock's respect or whatever, but okay, but why? I mean, you know, and so that they were talking about, they thought maybe, well, away from AEW, so we're going to bring him up here and we're just going to bury him. You know, we're going to try to, like, not, you know, bury him like where he's not over or anything like that, but like not really let him get anywhere. You know, you see what I'm saying? Like with championships or anything. Yeah. So that's what they were saying. You know, they were just like going to make people like love him and build him up, and then think he's going to get a championship and then always keep it away from him. And that seems to be what's going on.
Any thoughts on that, John?
Not really. Sorry.
No, and it's good. And again, it's just, to me, like, I almost feel like it's like, okay, we're going to do this, but before we do, like, let's just make sure you want this instead. So, again, for me, like, it's just, to me, like, I just feel like, to me, I feel like a lot of this too is because they are negotiating cable, right? They are negotiating their TV deal rights, and I feel like right now, like, you know, Fox is saying that they'll keep it, but they don't want to pay any more for it, and so I feel like maybe they're extending. They want Roman Reigns on TV right now, even though when he might have gone away, just because, you know, like, they're trying to keep everyone around, just, you know, because they're just trying to until they get that TV deal, and it just feels stupid to me. Like, I'd rather have him go away, and I wish it was just the Jey Uso and LA Knight show right now on SmackDown, and seeing what they can do and seeing if fans are behind those guys. Do you guys have any other closing thoughts before we close out the show?
No.
John, do you have any shout outs, Heather?
No, I don't. Well, to Jess for always having the support and everything. And that's about it.
How about you, John?
Well, of course, sorry. Of course, everybody else is listening. No, I'm sorry.
I don't have any more closing thoughts, but I do want to give a shout out to our Facebook admin on the Fans of Pro Wrestling, Trisha Pilot. Thank you for everything you do to help administer our little group there. Also, a big thank you to all the members of the Saged Up Network who's been there to retweet and support our platform. We couldn't do everything without any of you guys, so thank you for your support. And I also want to give a couple of shout outs to Jim Plotner at Fan in the Van. He also does a Steel and Till Talk with the same guy who does Is This a Bad Take and with Two Dudes Sports News Podcast. Thank you guys for everything you do to help support us.
And for me too, I just want to echo the Sage Up Network, especially Chris Haas, Nasty Leroy, who's a good friend of mine, Texas Lariat on Twitter, Execution 84 Sarah, Infrared R Ralph, also Eddie Eric, and then also Marcy, and then also Gil Mary and Carrie also in our little group chat. We thank you. Appreciate you guys. Just anyone who supports us, anyone who's given us love. Thank you guys. You guys make this all for us. And also just a shout out to our other two partners who aren't here, Bryan the Hype Ballard and also Will. Hope you guys are doing well. And we hope to have you guys back next week. So with that said, I'm going to now turn this over to John and give our closing credits.
And thank you, Carlos. We want to give a big thank you to Spotify for podcasters and StreamYard for being our newest home to building our latest episodes and releases of the Wrestling Fans Insight, both Takedown and Tuesday Night Chaos. Without them, we wouldn't be on such platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and much more. And if you have a chance, you can also interact with us on our two platforms, Facebook. You find us under the groups, the Fans of Pro Wrestling, or you can find us now on the X app. You can follow me, John, at WF Insight Podcast. Heather?
At Bama Girl _ 4 EVA, Bama Girl Forever.
And then I'm Carlos at C to the LOS 77, also at Conquer the No, and then also on Instagram at Rainbow Goodness _
All right. And if you're on the X app, you can join us tomorrow night at the last hour of Monday Night Raw, or do a little bit of a watch along and have a little bit of discussion there on WWE. Just find it under my account at WF Insight Podcast. We'll also be back on the audio platforms for Tuesday Night Chaos, as well as Carlos hosting a space on next Wednesday night, right after AEW Dynamite. And Heather will also be on the yeah, it is. The mental welfare.
Mental Health Watch.
I got tongue-tied there, Heather. Heather and Jess will be hosting a mental welfare space on X Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you're dealing with any issues and want to open up about some things, feel free to come join us there as well. And that's going to wrap it up for us for Sunday Takedown. We will be back on. Well, I've already mentioned when we'll be back. So we'll catch you all.
That's all, folks.
Yeah, that's right. We'll catch you all Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday later this week and Thursday. So have a good day, everyone.
Thank you all for joining us. Take care.